Sup lads, it's your boy Bandana-Boi, and England versus Croatia ends 4-2 for England in what was somewhat of a domination, especially in the second half. Let's not waste any time and let's jump straight in. England get a penalty 9 minutes in, and in my opinion, it shouldn't have been a penalty. I've talked about this before, but when you are inside the penalty box, for it to be a penalty, it needs to be a rough tackle. The player going out of his way to draw some contact, I don't think that should be considered a penalty unless it's a really rough tackle. England get awarded the penalty and Croatia's goalkeeper saves it. But we go back to the VAR for replay and unfortunately he was one step off his line. This new rule for goalkeepers I really don't like. I think it's already unforgiving enough for goalkeepers with penalties where they have a really low chance of saving the ball, let alone for them to be so penalized for just taking a single step off their line. It's truly sad to see. Harry Kane retook the penalty, and of course he converts it at that point, but I never liked this rule. It always made it so hard for goalkeepers to do anything. Even during the last World Cup when Emi Martinez was playing mind games with the French players before the penalty shootout, after the World Cup, FIFA literally said they're gonna implement new rules to punish the goalkeepers for any taunts. And I just don't think that's fair to the goalkeepers. The players can do whatever they want because converting the penalty is much easier than having to save one in high pressure situations. And yet the goalkeepers get no leeway whatsoever. At the end of the day, England did look like the better team during the game. So it wasn't like it was a tight game and this was a robbery. No, even though some calls I did think were a little suspicious, favoring England. But I guess nothing was too bad to the point where I felt like the game was robbed from Croatia. And then let's go to Croatia's first goal. What a goal that was! Croatia are on the attack, and one of the players sets it back, and from outside the box, Baturina slots it in the top left. I know Pickford got a hand to it, so it did look a little nicer, like it went fully in the top left corner. But either way, the strike was really good, and even if it wasn't exactly top left, it was a really good strike with immense power and great accuracy. Fair play to Baturina, because that was again one of the best goals I've seen so far from all the games I've watched during the World Cup. And then a bit later on in the game, England gets a corner and Declan Rice crosses it in. And I don't know why, but no one was covering Harry Kane. Usually, when the ball is on the defensive side for England, the striker is situated on the outside to be able to launch a counter attack. But for some reason, this time during their offensive attack against Croatia, Harry Kane was outside the box running in for the header, and no man was marking him. At that point, it was just some great delivery from Declan Rice, and Harry Kane heads it home for England to go 2-1 up. And then just before halftime, in additional time with 1 minute left, Modric crosses it in, and I'm not sure which player it was, but he headed it back, which was one of the smartest and best assists of the tournament so far. Most players at that point, they're just looking at the goal. Their eye is on goal and they want to score. But he knew that he didn't have enough power to score a goal against Pickford. So he flicks it behind him, and there you have it. Musa was there to volley it between Pickford's legs and tie the game for Croatia 2-2 going into the half. Up until this point, even though England had more chances, the game actually looked extremely even. Both teams had 2 goals, even if England had more chances, but the play in general, whether it's build up, defense, or offense, it was pretty tight. However, moving into the second half, now this is where England's expertise really shined. Just 2 minutes into the second half, Bellingham scores from a pretty tough angle and he puts England up 3-2. At this point, it's already a goal fest, and England are pretty happy taking a 1 goal lead against Croatia. But it didn't stop there for England. They were absolutely dominating Croatia throughout the second half. I don't know what changed, but the main thing was definitely the stamina. The English players were pressing the Croatian players like they were the ones that were 2 goals down. Their stamina was outstanding, and the pressure they put on them was truly top notch. And then in the middle of the second half, Croatia's goalkeeper, kudos to him, he played an incredible game. Even though 4 goals were scored on him, he had a triple save, which was just absolutely diabolical. 2 headers from like this 6 yard box. He saves back to back, and then he puts his body on the line to save another one. So Croatia don't go down 2 goals to England. After that triple save, and within the next 2 minutes, he had other 2 great saves. He had a great game, and unfortunately, the score sheet probably doesn't reflect that because it says that he conceded 4, but it truly wasn't his fault. Most goals he was just unlucky because the players were too close or someone from Croatia's side wasn't marking the attacker correctly. And then late in the game, around the 80th minute, England get another chance out of the blue. And at that point, it was Rashford one on one with the defender against the goalkeeper, and he also had three of his teammates to pick from if he wanted to pass it. But he didn't. He cut into the right and he slotted it bottom right in what was a pretty tidy finish. And that put England 2 goals up, and at that point, the game was sealed. Even then, England didn't stop pressuring and they were still trying to get the ball and get more goals. And then, in the very last minute, Harry Kane dives and saves a shot with his groin for England. You didn't expect to see the striker from England making the defensive plays, but here he is, in additional time, saving England from conceding another goal. What a game this was! It was truly one of the most entertaining and high level games of the tournament so far. The only game I can think of that was on the same level as this was probably Brazil versus Morocco, even if it didn't have the same number of goals. England are looking really, really fresh, and this is Croatia's worst loss since the 2018 World Cup against France, where they also lost 4-2. So, this is a statement win for England, and they are definitely proving to be one of the favorites, since actually most of the favorites this tournament haven't been showing up so far. Portugal earlier in the day just drew 1-1 to Congo. Netherlands drew 2-2 to Japan, Spain drew 0-0 to Cape Verde, and the only real favorites that truly showed up are Argentina versus Algeria, where they won 3-0, Germany versus Curacao, where they won 7-1, and you could consider France versus Senegal winning 3-1. There are 2 games left for all the teams featured in the World Cup to have played 1 game, and so far the groups are looking interesting. I'm excited to see how this pans out. Don't forget, lads, like, comment, share, tell me y'all's opinions on the game. I appreciate y'all, I love y'all, and choose